veces le ponen las letrecitas en inglés abajo. La playa de Punta Arenas es una cosa espectacular.
This little town is a small community where there's so much love.
We are just a really cool little slice of paradise.
Beautiful buildings, like there was some wealth, and then a lot of poor areas.
La comunidad de Vieques es como una gran familia, estamos conectados.
Mi vida es en Vieques, la gente, la isla, es mi casa.
Vieques es como un microcosmo donde tú haces el bien, inmediatamente se ve, no se pierde.
The Hurricane Center just put out the 11 o'clock advisory just minutes ago, and we are still at 160 miles per hour. The entire country, the entire territory, absolutely under the control of this Category 4, maybe Category 5 storm.
The night that the storm came, you could kind of hear the snapping trees and the sounds that you would expect, but what I didn't expect and what we heard was these enormous crashes and then this steady, constant booming over and over again. It actually sounded like it was getting closer to us. It was like, you know, if you imagine like giants' footsteps, right? Like boom, boom, boom.
Prayers are needed for this area. Perhaps the worst hurricane they've ever experienced is potentially on their doorstep.
Hurricane Maria, during the next couple of hours, is going to make landfall. We haven't seen a system like this in nearly 90 years.
The pressure in the room had changed, and then the dogs started to react, and all these things started happening.
Jesus Christ.
Winds are starting to really pick up here. Well, a lot of the roof just came off.
The glass didn't break, but the actual frames had come away from the walls, coming undone about 45 degrees, and then the sound of the wind coming through the pinhole.
Wow.
It was like a million trains. There was this high-pitched whistle. Everything that we had in this space that we had not taken out was flying up. This like Dorothy, Wizard of Oz, you know, the nichos, those big cactuses we had were just flying up in the air.
The death toll from Hurricane Maria may be a staggering 70 times higher than the official count.
There will be weeks without power. There may be weeks without water.
I've been here for 13 years. This is my home, and it's changed a lot lately. Disaster, crisis, whatever, lost every friggin' thing.
¿Cómo nosotros nos vamos a ajustar? Porque la naturaleza manda. Nosotros no podemos ir por encima de la naturaleza. Ella manda.
We're out of our comfort zone, and we're going to be out of our comfort zone for quite a while. Everyone's going to have to begin all over again.
There are estimated that over 200 people have completely lost their homes here, and over 1,000 people are living in homes that are damaged in one way or another. And there are many homes here that are just not safe. They may be infested with mold, they might not have roofs. They may have roofs, but holes in the roofs. They might not have windows or doors.
Lost your house, your roof, or all of your possessions.
Seguimos viviendo sin luz, no tenemos trabajo, yo no tengo casa, mi casa la destruyó el huracán María y se llevó hasta los panties.
Esa casita ahí nací, y yo tengo 82 años. Ahí nació todos mis hermanos, todos nacimos ahí. Yo tengo 82 años ya. La casa no existe ya. Lo que el huracán no se llevó, está todo amontonado ahí dentro. Ahí perdí todo lo que tenía, ropa y todo. Pues tuvimos que salir corriendo, no pudimos recoger nada.
The new study estimates a death toll of at least 4,645, with some projections topping 5,700.
Nothing has been properly organized to take care of an emergency or anything like that.
Almost a month after Hurricane Maria, 85% of Puerto Rico is still without power, running on backup generators. Its economy at a virtual standstill, with lives on the line.
These are people that live here. You can't forget about people. This is America. This is part of America. We have to keep this island in the spotlight.
Just off the U.S. territory's southeastern coast is Vieques. The island of 9,000 people was shredded by Maria. Locals estimate almost a third have already left.
What did we do here? What did we do wrong? What could we have prepared for better?
Why is it so important for you to stay here?
I'm a fighter.
Vieques is home to beautiful beaches, to rich animal and plant life, and to warm, welcoming people. For decades, used as military training ranges, we're required to make tremendous sacrifices to ensure the readiness of our armed forces and to enhance our national defense. Although Vieques and Culebra are no longer used for training purposes, both islands bear the scars of their past. Some of those scars are easy to see, like the impact of bombing on the once pristine landscape, or like the threat that unexploded bombs in the ground and surrounding waters currently pose to the safety of residents and visitors.
That, ladies and gentlemen, according to Prieto, is the tail fin of an unexploded bomb, right there on the beach. And we passed over another on the way in.
Todo lo que ellos le disparaban de sur hacia norte y todo lo que fallaba el objetivo caía al agua. En el agua hay miles, unas encima de otras. Es como usted ver un saco de habichuelas, así. Usted mira y solamente lo que ve son bombas en el fondo.
Caían las bombas, abría y salían. Chu, 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 chu. Aquí venía Alemania, España, Francia, Holanda y le pagaba 30 millones al día por ellos utilizar esto y bombardear. Esto es súper pesado y esto es más alto que tú.
En Santa María han caído bombas, en Monte Carmelo han caído bombas también.
Cuando hay maniobra, las casas siempre están temblando. Todas las casas aquí en Vieques están quebradas. Siempre caen las cosas y uno no puede dormir bien. Lo único que oye son las bombas cayendo. Que se vayan ya, si, ¿por qué están aquí? Ellos no defienden a Vieques, destruyéndola nada más. Que se vayan.
Over here we have no weapons, and not only, this is a small island, and we, through the civil disobedience, have been trying to tell the world that they should put a stop to the genocide that is being carried out by the United States Marines, Navy, and Army, their forces. We have, in many ways, tried to communicate this message to President Clinton. We won't be surprised if they start bombing, but if they do, they're going to be bombing with us inside the bombing zone.
Since the 40s, the Navy used nearly 3/4 of the island for bombing practice, war games, dumping old munitions, napalm. The bombing stopped after a campaign of nonviolent civil disobedience.
The Navy owes the people of Vieques, the federal government owes the people of Vieques, a complete reconstruction of this community, not just because of Hurricane Maria, but, in light of this hurricane, in the aftermath of this hurricane, the federal government of the United States owes at least to Vieques to make sure every single family here is healthy, fine, has a good solid house, and that there's economic development happening here on the island, without a doubt.
This is unacceptable. Since 1995, there have been over 70 incidents in which members of the public have incurred grave harm. Last March, a young girl suffered burns after she picked up an artillery shell containing white phosphorus. Other scars might be more difficult to discern, like the effect that bombing-related contamination may have had on public health, particularly in Vieques.
Vieques, Puerto Rico, a tiny Caribbean island whose calm was once punctuated by the sound of bombs.
The Navy bombed Vieques from jets, ships, tanks, bazookas, mortars, experimented with new weapon systems.
On May the 1st, 2003, the US government ended the bombing. A decade later, Vieques remains an island in trouble.
They're bombing us again, basically. They're contaminating through cleanup.
Detonan la bomba ahí mismo. Pero lo que hacen entonces, mueven todas otras cosas que encuentren, granadas, morteros, misiles, todo tipo de explosivos, lo mueven hacia donde está la bomba.
¿Ese era el arreglo principal, de detonarlas en el lugar o sacarlas y llevarlas a otro lugar?
Porque es lo más barato para ellos.
Okay.
Acuérdate que una compañía que quiere ganarse la mayor cantidad de millones de pesos, de la forma más rápida ya, detonarlas.
We're certainly concerned that people might get that sense that the Navy's gone, everything's wonderful here now. The hurricane moved in with a gigantic tidal wave sweeping directly over the bombing range. Many of us who are cancer patients, right, and I include myself, we're certainly concerned that this is going to bring more toxics into our immediate environment, and as well as creating serious danger for people who are in the water, particularly fishermen, other people who are in boats, or just people who go into the water.
Mi abuelo y mi abuela por parte de madre, ambos murieron de cáncer. Mi papá murió de cáncer. Mi tío, David, murió de cáncer.
Casi puedes decir que es un milagro que no hayas tenido cáncer.
Bueno, podríamos decirlo, todavía tengo que hacerme estudios, estoy en espera de una cita para el gastro.
It's not one disease. The Viequenses are dying.
I guess 4 years ago I had a big 14-centimeter cancerous, malignant, aggressive tumor in my abdomen. But I felt pregnant, and I had to keep my pants unbuttoned, because I had this pressure.
When the military comes out and says, well, we've found no link between exposure and disease, what science are they using to reach that conclusion?
I call it garbage science. It's just, they have never done a study that proves that hypothesis.
En Puerto Rico se importa más del 85% de lo que se come. Acá en Vieques, pues obviamente ese número es aún mayor. Así que hay una necesidad grandísima, ¿verdad?, de producir comida. Pero en Vieques es aún más fuerte porque, pues, por el asunto precisamente de la salud. Pero tampoco estamos mirando que la Marina llega a Vieques en los 40 y desplaza a miles de campesinos. Y Vieques antes le decían la tacita de oro del Caribe porque era súper productivo, ¿no? Tenía piña, azúcar, habían fincas familiares, había un proyecto de que la gente tuviera por lo menos una cuerda para siembra. La agroecología no es solamente sembrar matitas. Hablamos de agroecología porque tiene un sentido político en Latinoamérica, que tiene que ver con todo este asunto de rescate de tierra y que tiene que ver con el rescate de nuestra salud, ¿verdad? Y con la descolonización de nuestras tierras.
O sea, en cada semilla hay un poco de política, lucha social, cuestiones de salud.
Exacto.
The use of Vieques as training ranges may have ceased, but the legacy of such use must be addressed by DOD.
Tenemos un futuro incierto y que no sabemos si hoy nos acostamos y mañana vamos a amanecer o no vamos a amanecer. Esta es la parte que uno conoce como viequense, que puede identificarse. Porque yo creo que aquí no hay ningún viequense que no haya tenido dentro de su familia alguien que haya padecido de cáncer.
La familia de la hermana Pereira, su sobrino Fredito, también por la familia del hermano Andrés López, la familia del hermano.
Solo le pido a Dios que nos preste tiempo, vida, para disfrutar algún momento, por lo menos un corto momento de este espacio. Y yo me he estado preparando, yo sé que yo siempre le he dicho a mis hijos, a mi familia, que todos nos vamos por el mismo camino. Aquí yo creo que...
¿Preparando para qué? ¿Para tener cáncer?
Sí, aquí todos debemos estar preparados.
Testing, testing, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, I'm Aurita Maldonado. This is David Alexi Abreu Maldonado. This is where we're living right now, Vieques. Almost a year after Hurricane Maria. Another hurricane's on its way, I guess. Maybe Category 1. Oh, Alexi, this is him. The man of the house. To 8.5 years in the Army. 2 tours, Iraq, Afghanistan. Hit a 200-pound IED in combat. 3 days after I got shot through my backpack. Got sent back from Afghanistan. I had PTSD. I was paralyzed. Somehow I learned to walk. My internal organs remained paralyzed, and so I'm sort of like a walking paraplegic. I don't understand how the heck I can walk, other than a whole lot of work. Life just kind of continues to move you forward, and sometimes places you're at don't quite work out the way that you think they're gonna work out, and so I was asked to come to Vieques to be a dance instructor here. So I came here in March of 2017 and I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with this man, decided to have a family and settle down finally. You know, instead of being this, you know, gypsy, wounded veteran kind of personality, and I stopped. Ended up here on this land. We built a little tiny shack and Maria came. The shack went away and I'd found out I was pregnant 2 days after Maria on the 21st. At that time, we were getting up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Normally we wouldn't be able to get to the VA until after 10. Epic journey every time it was time to go to the gynecologist. So I didn't actually get to go till I was 14 weeks. The lack of healthcare in Vieques, the hurricane, I mean, it just disseminated, the hospital disappeared. When the gynecologist said, okay, she's 4 centimeters dilated, she needs to have this baby, they couldn't find the incubator cord. Didn't have a cord, there was nowhere to put this premature baby. Ended up giving birth to Presby. He was premature, he stayed in NICU for 15 days, and that's a great facial expression, baby. That was this guy. Yeah, I'm tough. Peace. The water truck for Vieques is broken right now, and even when it's working, they bring it to the very base of the hill, which is like 3/4 of a mile down, because the truck can't make it all the way up here. So we're constantly carrying buckets uphill, downhill.
Este purrón de agua me lo trajo mi sobrino, pero esta agua contaminada que solo sirve para echar al baño, porque aquí no hay agua, no hay luz, no hay nada. Usamos y una cisterna que hay allá atrás, que esa agua no se puede usar más que para echarle al baño, para bajar el baño, es lo único que se puede usar, porque está contaminado. Los bomberos me llenaron este lote de agua aquí, pues no le hicieron nada, porque no me metieron ni una manga para sacarle el agua. Aquí está lleno. ¿Cómo yo voy a sacar esa agua de ahí?
Uno tiene que poder inventar. Si no hay una cosa, ¿con qué vas a hacerlo? ¿Cómo lo vas a hacer?
Eventually, we were able to get a 96 Chevy Silverado with 4-wheel drive. So we've got this trusty truck, and then we drive the truck up the hill, and then we use this hose and gravity to bring the water down into the other cistern. Yeah, so this is where we're at right now. Ah! Fuck, it's cold. The windows are all down because the switch gave up on us. You know, I paid $400 for it, so it doesn't work. Put this little house switch in here because the house switch will allow us to like turn on the car. We've been starting the car by turning on the key and then flipping on and off the switch for about a week, and now that has given up on us. I'm getting rained on. God damn it! Like, you can't make this shit up. Actually, I wonder if there's a bucket back there I could collect some rainwater. It looks like up there's some green skies. So, and then here comes Alex.
Yeah, you have to put this switch down.
Working on the car. I mean, we don't need a 40-inch TV or anything crazy like that. Lights. Lights are nice. Hurricane-proof stuff. Are there things like that? I don't know.
I know. ¿Por qué? si tu alma no está contenta, pide la revancha, tienta, no hallarte. De cuenta ya perdí la cuenta, la vida es violenta, no mienta, hay que ser valiente. Y si tu alma no está contenta, pide la revancha, tienta, no hallarte. De cuenta ya perdí la cuenta, la vida es violenta, no mienta, hay que ser valiente.
Relief does not come from the United States overnight for this kind of thing, and they're not going to come to a tiny island with 9,000 people when they've got 3.4 million on the main island.
Now, I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack. Now, what is your death count as of this moment? 17?
16 certified.
16 people certified.
The largest cause was the collapse of the healthcare system, which is intimately tied to the collapse of the electricity system, which is intimately tied to the collapse of the water system. So this is really about total infrastructure failure.
The systems that we have, the infrastructure we have, the organizations we have, the political parties that we have are not up to the task in any way.
We saw people in February having to travel very long ways to plug in their oxygen machines, elderly people.
Private homegrown charities brought people food here. FEMA brought Pop-Tarts.
Because there was nothing in place for a disaster of this type, either locally or on the main island, you're on your own.
A lot of people were alive because some private charities have stepped in and did the work for FEMA.
The number of deaths since January has continued to increase.
Sonia Ventura is the founder of Carefi, which is Concerned Residents for Improvement.
Sonia, how many people do you have, how many clients do you have right now for Carefi?
Well, we have over 1,500, I guess.
Okay, and out of those 1,500 clients, how many people do you think need emergency medical care so they don't die in the near future?
500. About 500.
There are many people in many different barrios here that need help.
The people with no family, the bedridden, the people who have fallen through the cracks, many of them who are so old that they don't have social security numbers.
We took down names and phone numbers, and we're still collecting names, phone numbers, addresses of people who are in need. And we have to put together to make sure that people have a safe place to live.
Aquí en Vieques tengo un hermano y sobrino. No, dos hermanos. Dos hermanos y los demás sobrinos. Los otros viven en Estados Unidos.
¿Y le envían ayuda?
Sí, me han ayudado.
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? No, está bien.
I'm seeing people live in conditions that no human being should live in.
Vivo en una casa invadida, una casa abandonada, que la invadimos para pasar el huracán.
¿Y hace cuánto tiempo usted es ciego? ¿Hace cuánto tiempo perdió la visión?
Me empezó con dolor en los pies, que casi no podía caminar, pero tenía la vista. Pero después poco a poco fui perdiendo la vista, y hace como 3 años que perdí la vista. Aquí no hay puerta ni hay nada. Cuando llueve con viento nos mojamos. Digo que hace falta que vengan los dueños que la abandonaron. Y nos digan que nos tenemos que ir de aquí. Tenemos que coger la calle también.
We barely get good vegetables and fruits. And, vegetables here, for example, half a cabbage is $4. Half a cabbage. The insularism has made the mines many minds just do the same things over and over and just be in despair. We need a lot of help, like some people say, to unify everybody and to get rid of that despair, that you don't wait for so much help from the government, but that you can get together and do something about this situation.
We follow handicapped people back to where they live, and we find that they're living in shambles and unlivable situations. Since Maria, the need is more obvious. We had 300 and some odd families on our roads before Maria. We're well over 1,200 now. It's probably 4 or 5 of us, and we just tried to take on the most critical, urgent cases. And my personal goal, and it's a very difficult one, is to try to decide which life that I could save each day.
We have to come together to make sure that people have a safe place to live. That if another hurricane comes, they know with no uncertainty that they can be in their home and it's not going to crumble around them. And if they decide that they're going to evacuate, when they come back, the house will still be standing.
El insularismo aquí nos mata mucho y entonces no vemos otras cosas que se pueden hacer. Y hay que estar en otro sitio y vivirla y saber que sí se puede. But by the time they see that they get better and that they can get the medications they need, and then they see that there's hope. And then you see their faces completely change.
Get a common goal and let's get together. We all ultimately have the same goal, I believe, as human beings. We want to be happy. We want to have our heart filled with love.
Need about everything. Vieques is difficult because you have problems, traveling back and forth, bringing the stuff.
The average Puerto Rican was exposed to 84 days without electric power. Moreover, it was more than 60 days without drinking water.
Running an island on diesel generation is unsustainable.
Even if they have a generator, they don't have the means to keep buying the gasoline or the diesel.
Our land is as far from town as you could probably possibly get. Getting to the other side of town to get fuel or to fuel things it uses a lot of fuel.
aparece ese mismo? Esta es la que la veo arriba. Necesito uno de los pequeños cuadraditos para aquí.
In 6th grade, I said I will be mechanical engineer. It was something that was great for me. I said I want that. I'm gonna do that. I take a long time to get my bachelor's. 9 years. Some depressions. Sometimes I say I don't want to finish my studies, but I see my brother. 9 years, less than me, and he looked me as a hero. And I know that because if I finish my work, my studies, he's there right now. A lot of people ask me, why you don't go to the United States? You have more opportunity, you got more chance to get more money. I said, no, I want to bring back to my island, what my island bring to me when I'm raised. So that's why I'm here. It's hard. I really want my house. I really want my space. I want to get something stable for my place. But at the moment, I'm thankful.
How many people do you think have fallen through the cracks?
Oh my God. In the last month, I know that anywhere from 6 to 8 people have died. I couldn't even say. I know that it's continuing to happen. It's continuing.
Until people feel comfortable in their homes and comfortable that they have light and they have electricity and that in the pharmacy they have their medicine, until that occurs, it's going to continue. It's going to continue.
Most people watching this will not realize that we here at Vieques still don't have communication. It's very difficult for us to reach out. So, although I'm giving you my phone number, I may not know that you called.
No podemos trabajar sin comunicación. Si la persona tiene a papá, mamá, el niño enfermo, ¿cómo llama una ambulancia? Nosotros llevábamos desde la tormenta María sin un teléfono, sin una internet. El gobierno no respondió a la emergencia como había que hacerlo. Lo primero que tú tomas el lugar y montas la emergencia con un sistema de comunicación donde todos podamos hablar. Y yo decirle a San Juan, necesito esto. Oye, llámame este número para la ambulancia. Mira, necesito un camión, necesito una máquina. O sea, ¿cómo podemos trabajar sin comunicación en una emergencia? Es imposible. Hay que ver en Facebook cómo la gente se enfogona porque no sabe por qué se fue la luz, porque no sabe por qué no hay agua. Pues claro, esa información hay que ponerla a rodar, que todo el mundo sepa qué se está haciendo y cómo están las cosas y qué vamos a hacer. Yo veo a Vieques como un bote en el Caribe. Todos estamos montados en ese barco. Vamos a convivir y ayudarnos para que el barco navegue muy bien.
A huge problem, and it has been a huge problem forever, is transportation to the main island.
The boat system, La Lancha, that goes from the main island to Vieques is still not functioning.
We have totally inadequate service. I've been riding the ferry for 15 years, and it has been a choke point on the island for bringing in supplies and for any possibility of economic development.
Even to be able to get out to the main island is sometimes a big problem.
We have to take over the ferry, and the only way we're going to do that is private effort. Puerto Rican government has said they don't want to be in the ferry business anymore. It doesn't matter whether it's cargo or passengers. We're an island that relies totally on the ferry service.
We're still without a morgue. Without having the morgue, all the deceased have to be boarded with a casket on the ferry boat in order to be transported to forensic medicine. We were at one point, we were also running out of caskets. We then had the ferry boat in order for so I can make a casket order. I've had to board the first ferry boat that leaves at 4 o'clock in the morning in order to arrive here so I can stop decomposure.
Half of the people on this island live below the poverty line. How do you charge a reasonable fee for the people that don't have that money?
The ferry is a mess. I mean, to put people who are undergoing chemotherapy and dialysis, who are pregnant, who are deathly ill, on a system where sometimes they get stranded for a day is inhumane.
So the elderly was over here. They were going to the ferry. They make this long line. They with wheelchairs and rollators and bastones and everything, and they were pushing around. There were people to get in the ferry. They was pushing them around. So I said, no, this cannot be done. I went through all the line and I told all the ferry, okay, this is a choo-choo train. You're gonna hold on to me, and you all gonna follow me. So this is a choo-choo train. So everybody will hold on to me and say choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo train.
Sonia would accompany those people and try to take them across where they could get real medical help.
We used to go through the window, and I says, you guys are going first. And the line was from here to there, real far. And then everybody was saying, hey, where are you going? I says, where are they going? They're going where they deserve to go.
The despair is creeping up. If the ferry system improves, then everything else can improve too.
The Puerto Rican government can't just walk away from us and say, well, you go ahead and do your private ferry, we're not doing anything here. They still have to subsidize it. But if we had a private ferry and we could run the route that the island wants, the route which we call the short route, will actually save the Puerto Rican government about $10 million a year, which is a significant amount. I'm tired.
For over half a century, Vieques community's economy was really stopped. So people are now in a very vulnerable position vis-a-vis, the competition with anyone who comes in. They've got enormously much more buying power than anyone in Vieques, and they can then set up businesses that people here cannot.
Right after Trump left, the government recognized that the number went up to 34. So when he answered Trump's question, it's very unlikely that he didn't know the number was not 16 already. So that, again, it's just highlighting that the numbers and the entire situation has been usurped to serve Rosello's political agenda and the capitalists that are now taking over the island.
The people that don't want things to change, but they have to change. And it's not going to get any better if we don't get together and work on it. We have the desire to help. We just need unity and organization.
We work together, helping rebuild, helping bring healthcare, helping bring food and water, shelter. Working together, that would be the one thing I would like to see happen here, is everybody working together, Mackenzies and people from the States.
This effort of evacuating the island is really an opportunity to really privatize the entire island. And so if there are no people there, it really makes it easier for the United States to support corporate interests.
Si peleamos uno y otro, no tenemos futuro. Esas son las viejas historias. Las vamos a cambiar, vamos a construir un Vieques diferente y más fuerte. Yo creo que hay gente muy valiosa. Hay gente muy valiosa y la cosa es poderlo llevarlo a ese plano donde puedan discutir con la gente que tiene los proyectos del gobierno y entre todos, gobierno, agencias federales y la gente Vieques, hacer la mejor manera. Esto no se acaba hoy, esto no se acabó con María. Vienen tiempos difíciles porque desgraciadamente hemos dañado el planeta. Tenemos que preparar a Vieques para la subida de la marea. Tenemos que salvar nuestras estructuras, nuestras áreas turísticas, cuáles son las playas. Fíjate que María creó playas nuevas, por la cantidad de arena que sacó y tiró hacia la orilla. Hay que ser muy cuidadosos, ya no podemos jugar a la tormenta. Cada día va a ser más fuerte, porque el calentamiento global trajo otros fenómenos de otra categoría. Ya no estamos hablando de una tormenta tipo 1, tipo 2, no estamos hablando tipo 5. Ya no estamos hablando que las tormentas son del Caribe y del Golfo. No, ya pueden subir a Nueva York. Yo creo que tiene que tener una respuesta de todos los gobiernos, pero sobre todo del individuo. Yo soy mi cuidador de la naturaleza. Yo tengo que cuidar la naturaleza. Si todos tomamos conciencia de eso, podemos revertir el fenómeno. Y yo creo que la naturaleza está esperando que lo hagamos.
I think the island mentality now is not, oh, poor me. It's basically, all right, let's get in there, let's change some stuff. We know a lot of things that need to be changed now, and we have plans for how some of those are going to be done. There have been negotiations with Tesla and others for potentially making our island one of the sustainable energy sources. We could do that.
In my opinion, and this is my opinion, the only answer for Vieques long-term power security is to have a renewable, for all the reasons everybody here agrees on, but also a robust and local power generation system based on solar power.
It just goes right back to nature. It's more of an opportunity for them to move towards renewable energies.
Moses West is the Army Ranger who has technology to capture a large amount of clean, usable water from the air to help people all around the world.
Moses with the water.
I've had to live with this name Moses for a long time. It's not lost on me.
He has developed a technology that literally creates water out of thin air.
It's a machine that is designed to take the H2O molecule out of the air, and that's it.
Moses recently founded the Water Rescue Foundation to put this technology in the hands of people who need it the most. First stop, Puerto Rico.
This is a prime example of where this can be used. All the water in Puerto Rico has been contaminated. I don't want to celebrate the holidays when I know that so many Americans in Puerto Rico are going through this, and I have a technology that can help them. This just doesn't help your bottom line. This is something that gives people hope. I want them to see. I want them to have this conversation so they can understand about the third source of water, the most abundant, pure source of water. This container, this one machine, can make 8,400 liters of water a day, depending on the conditions that you have. But then it's just going back to the same thing that we learned when we were little kids with all those beautiful pictures on the hydrologic cycle. It's just we're removing this water now with the technology. People in the outlying areas where FEMA hasn't reached them yet. No one's reached them.
I give them a military 5-gallon water can and tell them to take how much they want. If they ask for a second can, you can have as many cans as you want if you got a big family. I don't care. Right now, we have the cleanest source of water in Puerto Rico. That's free.
So everybody's learned now that when you come up, it'll gravity feed out. And we're doing that to conserve power. This is a cancer hotspot, and you'll see lots of people with different diseases that are water related. The first thing people ask me, are you going to leave us? And I say, no. How long are you going to be with us? I said, until I get the job done.
I'm here for the duration. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to abandon anybody. That's not how we operate. That's not how we operate in the military. That's not how we operate as Texans. We stick with it. So I'm staying.